Alright, so I wanted to talk a little bit about gearing and tire size and gear ratios and what I've learned about them so far. The main thing is learning your tire size. To mine being 130, 90, 18. The first number, 130, is how wide the tire is. It being 130 millimeters. The second number is 90. 90 being the percentage of the first number, and that percentage relates to how tall the tread is going to be from the rim. So, how tall it is. So, 90% of 130 millimeters, whatever that is. I'm not going to guess that right now. Alright, so now that we have that, let's go ahead and just do the front. The front originally is a 80 121. I put on a 90 121. So yes, that means it is 10 millimeters wider. And that also means since the second number is 100, that means it's 100% of that number. So it's 90 millimeters wide and also 90 millimeters tall, making the diameter of the overall tire taller compared to the original 80 100, which the second number was the same, but 100% of 80 is less than 100% of 90. Now that we have that, you go to the front pinion gear and then your back sprocket. So this one came with a 14 tooth in the front and a 40 in the rear. And since I changed my rear tire size to a larger diameter, I wanted to assist that with the engine. So I changed the gearing up one tooth. So yes, it basically sounds like it's doing the same thing gear wise, but technically it's around 11% reduction in the gear ratio. And that means that it seems like I lose acceleration and I gain top speed, but for this setup and this engine, I really don't. This being the 300, my biggest problem with it was that it would take me through the gears super fast. Like, I barely got to use first through third. It was super fast through them, even fourth. And now I am more in first, second, and third. And even at 50 miles per hour, I'm still playing between fourth and fifth. And then sixth is only for, when you're at like 60 and you're going to be there for a while or more, 60, 70. But I wouldn't take this thing on the interstate before I did any changes, and I would take it on the interstate if I had to, but it's still going to be just as sketchy because you're pretty close to your max speed and it gets uncomfortable. But as far as on the trail, I promise you it did not change it for the bad. It actually helped out because now instead of me worrying about having to change between first and second gear, I can stay in one or the other for quite a bit longer, and it's way more useful in between because of that taller gear, it being taller like that. So it feels like I have longer distance in between my shifts. And the other thing about the front tire, since the speedometer comes from the front tire, by changing that diameter, that little bit of 10 millimeters, you almost counter the changes in your rear wheel. Because if this was the original, it would be off by like 6% at the speedo. And with this slightly bigger wheel, it's only like 2.5, 3%. You don't really notice until you're up at like 60 and you're actually going more like 65, and that's where it might get you in trouble. But down at regular driving speeds, you don't really notice the change because the slightly larger diameter of the front tire helping the changes in the rear. And yeah, so I hope I kept that short and sweet. I just mainly wanted to share about the tire size, because understanding the gearing can really help you out when you're figuring out like exactly what you want to do when you ride. And this thing for me was too quick through the gears, and yes, it accelerated them through them fast, and I didn't need all of that, so I adjusted with the larger tire and then kind of helped it out with the larger pinion. And yeah, that's basically it. So I hope that helps.